activate the power of Durga. Great. The yogic path of power and protection. Amazing. And then if we get that, yeah, perfect. Okay, there she is. Ooh. How does she look? Do we like her? Do we like her? Durga. Everybody say Durga. Durga. All right. Let's dive into this. Let's take a deep breath in. And exhale out. Inhale in. And exhale out. Inhale in. And exhale out. All right. So one of the key technologies for Bhakti Yoga. Have you heard of Bhakti Yoga before? Bhakti Yoga, it's the yoga of the heart and of devotion. It's how we connect to the divine in this very heartfelt way. It's so it puts the flavor, the loving flavor into our practice and our communion. So we call it Bhakti Yoga in this tradition. And one of the crucial components, along with, of course, singing and chanting, is the storytelling. It's the storytelling. And now this is a really important piece because the storytelling activates our inner child. And it goes into the subconscious. And this is really important because the yogis knew that the majority of what dictates our life is our subconscious. So yeah, we can address the conscious mind. We can consciously want to do things in our life. But what's programmed in the subconscious is much more important. That's what's really dictating life. Can we turn this monitor down? So the stories is part of that technology. And sometimes we don't think of storytelling as technology. Have you ever thought of storytelling as technology? Have you ever thought of singing and chanting as technology? But it is. It's technology for what? Your heart. And that too, your subconscious. But particularly for your heart. So Bhakti Yoga says we want to cultivate practices on a regular basis that helps us blossom open our hearts. And that it's not necessarily just a given, that we just wake up every day and my heart is just so open. How many people wake up in the morning and just, oh, my heart is just so open. I can't wait to look in the mirror. I can't wait to go see what's on the news today and just see what's going on in life. I'm sure it's wonderful. So, a lot of times, it's a practice. It's a practice to be grateful. It's a practice to pray. It's a practice to meditate. It's a practice to do yoga. It's a practice to do breath practices. It's a practice to optimize our whole well-being. It's a practice to optimize our minds so that we keep this, outlook of life, a positive outlook of life, an optimistic outlook of life. Because, let's face it, we're kind of inundated with negativity. We're inundated with doubt. We're inundated with criticism. And so, Durga, here comes Durga. We have to have courage. We have to have will. We have to have determination to face this life, face all the challenges, every single one. So Durga is that representation to face every single challenge and just go head on. Head on. And there's a really key component about Durga. She knows she's going to be victorious. She always knows she's going to be victorious. She doesn't believe she's going to be victorious. She doesn't I'm not sure, maybe. No, she just knows. She has conviction. Durga, conviction. You can't ride a tiger without conviction. Anybody rode a tiger before? Or a lion? Did you ride a lion over there in Africa, Mary? Wow. You rode a mountain lion? I mean, that's our lion of the Pacific Northwest. We don't have tigers and lions except for, imported. But pumas definitely. We got pumas. So that's our, really, that's our Durga. So if we had a emanation of Durga in the Pacific Northwest, we would have her on a cougar. Okay, so let's get deeper into the stories, because these stories have been around for a long time. We're talking thousands of years that these stories are passed down. And the iconography. So even the symbolism of the iconography, this is also part of Bhakti Yoga technology. The symbolism, the paintings, what this represents. So we can just take a look real quick. This is a pretty pared down version. This is a very mild version of Durga, by the way. A lot of times she's got a lot more weapons than this. She's known as the fierce warrior goddess, so this is a very gentle one. She's like she's calmed down maybe after the battle, but we got a lotus representing the ongoing awakening, right? Never-ending awakening process, and then she's got her right hand an abhaya mudra, meaning hey, don't worry, no fear, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be all right. She sings, she was before Bob Marley. Then she's got this trident. And often that's related to Shiva, but it represents a mastery of all the trinities. There's all these different aspects of the three aspects of life and on and on. There's many different aspects of the trinity, but it represents a certain mastery. You have that staff. It means a sense of power. Right? Again, that conviction. Why do you have a staff? You never noticed as soon as you have a staff, you have a whole nother level of posture. Like, imagine if you walk in with a staff, you turn heads. Like, are you walking with a staff? Symbol of power, right? Symbol of steadfastness. So she doesn't have all these other weapons, but typically she has all these other weapons in the depictions. She has all these weapons because they were given to her. So shall we go into the story? You guys want to hear a story? Yes. Do you want to hear a story? Do you want to hear a story? How about you in the back? Do you want to hear a story? You yawning? Yeah. Do you want to hear a story? Oh, okay. It's all good. I had a lot of mate, so that. Or matcha. Okay. So our story begins. Like any one of us could play this part of the story. In fact, that's how the stories go. We're actually not just one of the characters, we're all the characters. Okay, so there's these twins. And one wants to be really well known. Because, they have childhood issues. They weren't seen by their parents. And so they want to be seen. And they don't want to be seen by just a few people, like more than just this unity crowd. They want, more than just Bend, Oregon. More than the whole state of Oregon. They want to be known throughout, they don't even want to go through Hollywood and like that. They want to be known through the whole world. And even beyond the world, they want to be known in the underworlds. They want to be known in the heavenly bodies. They want to be known. Fame. And they want to be rich. And they want to be powerful. And they want to do whatever they want to do. We're talking about deep desires that every single one of us, in a sense, has. Whether it's distorted version of it or non-distorted version. Does anybody want to be seen in this room? Ever? You want to be seen for what you do? Okay, you do. Yeah, okay. Does anybody like material wealth here? Like having things, nice things, houses, cars, boats. Some of you want planes, I don't know. Definitely technology, phones and computers. Who doesn't want those things? And maybe you want multiple of them, and on and on and on. Who likes to dictate what they do in their day-to-day life? Who doesn't want somebody else to tell them what to do in their day-to-day life? So we can see how we all could relate to it, and then we can also see how it can get distorted. And so the story goes is that these two, because they weren't seen, and they had a strong desire, strong propensity. I mean, we're talking serious. So they start doing practices because they find out about these practices, these yogic practices, very esoteric, they found out. And this teacher, they found a teacher, and he taught them. And he said, if you do these practices, if you're very diligent, you'll get boons. You'll get siddhis, they call them. Siddhis are the spiritual blossoming of powers as you awaken. Whoa. Who doesn't want siddhis? Wow. Lasers out of your third eye. Teleport. Manifest and then dematerialize and come to another place. They talk about all these stories in the yoga tradition. But deeper than that, they had this feeling like they want to be invincible. Have you ever felt that way? That you don't want to be able to get defeated by anyone. I mean, who wants to lose in a fight? You get in a fight with your partner, who wants to lose? We're going to get in a fight, and I'm going to make sure that every time I'm going to lose. Nobody wants that. What's the fun in the fight? What's the fun in the argument if you're always going to lose? You're always going to succumb. No, that's not fun. There's the argument. There's to see if we can win. Who wins? I proved my point. We have humility here at Unity, so we're trying to find the neutral grounds. But let's be real. When we really get in an argument, we want to win. If we have a point of view of our life or things that we want to do, we want to get done, on and on and on, our belief system, and if it gets challenged, you're going to fight for that. Do you fight for what you believe in? Okay. So as they're doing these practices, first they start sitting down and they start doing their breath practices. Let's do it. Okay, let's do it together. Inhale through your left nostril. Exhale through your right nostril. Inhale through your right nostril. And exhale through your left nostril. Good. Now that's just like basics, right? Now these guys were given much more advanced. So let's do like much more advanced. Let's inhale 7 bursts. Exhale 7 bursts to the right. Now inhale 7 bursts to the right. And exhale 7 bursts to the left. Now that's good. That's good. That's good. So they would do this. And some of us do it in a yoga practice. We might do for like a few minutes, These guys would do it for like 3 hours. And then they started seeing how clear their minds were getting. So they would do it for 5 hours a day. Then they started realizing, hey, this stuff is working. And then they found out some mantras. They started doing some mantras. And then they realized it works much better if they started doing handstands. They were doing all the asanas, and all of a sudden they were doing handstands. They got so strong, they were ripped. Then they noticed their bodies are starting to look better. They're getting 6-packs, and I'm like, man, this is amazing. And so now all of a sudden, not only do they handstands, but now they've got one hand planted and they're breathing as they're doing their breath practice. Their feet are in the air. They're just getting more and more ripped. And then, alternating every hour, they'd switch hands. Mantras going, breath practice going. And all of a sudden, they're doing this for hours and hours and hours while they're in cold water, cold plunging. I mean, these guys were serious. Forget biohacking. These guys are like transcendental hacking. And they just kept going. Diligent. Years go by. They don't miss a day. They don't miss a day of practice. They just steady. So what happens in this tradition is that if you keep going at it, you create this fire. They call it tapas. You create this fire. And then if you create enough fire, you start like getting the attention of the gods. And so there they are, creating fire in the sun. And so all of a sudden, there's a rule that takes place, that if you do enough tapas, practices, that you will get a boon from a god. In this case, the great creator god, Brahma, comes to them at last. And he says, Shumba and Nishumba. Those are the two twins, right? Brothers. And he says, you guys are like outrageous. I mean, you're seriously dedicated yogis. I mean, it's one thing to be doing cold plunges, but cold plunges while you're doing a handstand is like next level. And doing alternate nostril breathing and mantra practice. Wow. And these guys are serious about their yoga practice. So he gets a boon. They get a boon. He says, I'm here. What would you like? And they both look at each other like, dang, that teacher was right. We just went for it. And now we get the boon. And so they say, we want to be defeated. No, invincible. Deathless. We don't ever want to die. Does anybody ever have that feeling, like they don't ever want to die? Ever felt that way before? I mean, who's just like ready to die? Few people. Take me out. Let's go. So they don't want to die, and they want to be invincible. That's the boon they want. And Brahma says, okay, here's the deal. There's always got to be a caveat if you get this invincibility boon. So it's like, you guys can choose. What do you want that to be? And they're like, Well, I mean, why don't we do it by that? The one caveat is that we could be killed by a woman. I mean, well, come on. Look at us. Been doing handstands for hours every day. We're ripped. What woman's going to kill us? And Brahma says, your wish is my command. And so the boon is bestowed upon them. And so they're like, let's see if this thing works. So they go out and find somebody and push them. What's up now? And this guy's like, what the? And he pushes them back, and they start pushing, getting the brawl. And guess what? They win. Oh. They quickly realize, let's test it out to a whole nother level. So they go to Las Vegas. They sign up for the next UFC championship tournament. And guess what? They just keep winning. Cages, no cages, boxing, kickboxing, martial arts. They win everything. And of course, their fame's growing, their wealth's growing, their power's growing. And so now they've got all this influence. They become influencers. They talk about what they do in cold water plunges, doing handstands, alternate breathing. They're going viral on social media. And they're growing. And it's the perfect place to grow, Las Vegas. They buy up the whole Las Vegas Strip. They buy out all the other gangsters. But they want more. They're like, Las Vegas, we can buy everything. Pretty soon they're buying everything. And all of a sudden, they're like, why don't we run for president? Well, there's 2 of us, but we could change the laws. We're that powerful. So they run for president. They win presidency. Surprise, surprise. They want more. And so they start conquering. However it is, the story goes. But soon they've conquered the whole world. They have power over the whole world. But that's still not enough. Isn't that crazy? You got control of the whole world. All the people of the world, all the creatures, you have it. Still not enough. Oh, more. Okay, more. They go to the underworld. All the demons, the goblins, the orcs, whatever it is. Control all that. Then they get really ambitious. We got armies. Let's take on the devas. They go to the celestial realms. They start battling with the celestials. And even the celestials are going, what the heck is going on? We battle with these Shumba and Nishumba, and they still don't lose. Finally, Shiva, Vishnu, they're battling with these guys. I'm like, what the heck is going on with these 2? And they're like, where's Brahma? What the heck has he been? And then they're like, we got to talk to him. I think he has to do with this. So they go to Brahma, and they ask him about this. He's like, oh, that's right. I gave them a boon. And the boon is that they can't be killed. Except, they're like, oh, I knew there was a caveat. By a woman. Oh, okay. So what they do, they harness all their power. All the celestial gods harnessing all their powers and their weapons. Did we ever watch Captain Planet? Anyone watch Captain Planet? With all our powers combined, we form Durga. So they call upon the Divine Mother in her fierce form as Durga. And Durga emerges. And Durga is then given the weapons by all the gods to go fight Shumba and Nishumba. Whoa. And I realize I'm going way over time, so I got to hurry this up. So she rides straight for him. Now, even within the process, they've created some serious, there's the head honchos, but then there's always like the other head honchos, the generals. So she's got to go through and take care of a bunch of other generals too while she's at it, which we don't have time for that right now. But essentially, she rides into these battles, and she just knows she's going to be victorious. And she rides, and she rides, and she's the full power of all the gods. Of all the goddesses. Everyone put their Shakti into her. And so she rides, and every time she rides into battle, armies, generals, slice and dice, and nobody can take on Durga. And now Shumba and Nishumba are like, who the heck is this Durga? And, of course, there are even reports from their troops. They're like, the thing about this Durga is, not only is she badass, she's really distracting because she's so hot. It's like we're trying to fight her, but we're also just like, wow. And then heads are getting chopped off because we're distracted. So Shumba and Nishumba said, bring her to me, drag her by her hair, and bring her to me. Well, they try, and no one can succeed. So finally, she rides up, boom, 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 on her tiger. And she rides up to Shumba and Nishumba. And they both see her. And of course, they fall into the same trap. They're like, wow. Right, look, we've never been defeated since we got this boon. Why not, instead of fighting us, why not join us? And we can rule this world, the lower world, and the heavens together. And Durga says, no thanks. I'm here to restore order and harmony and balance because I'm Mother Nature herself, and I'm coming here to restore. And you all are the problem. And I'm meant to kill you. And they're like, okay, let's go. And the battle ensued. More, what happens? Durga. So let's chant the mantra together. Om. Dum. Durgaye. Namaha. Om. Dum. Durgaye. Namaha. Om. Dum. Durgaye. Om. Dum. Durgaye. Namaha. So the world is resounding with this mantra. It's just vibrating, that doom. You know, you go into the battle and it's just doom, doom, the drums of war going, and that's the mantra, doom, 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 doom. If you come to a yoga class with me, you're going to do that, doom, 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 doom. And the mantra's going, and she's just slicing away. And boom, she kills Shumba and Nishumba. Da. And then order is restored. And everyone celebrates on the planet, and the celestials. They celebrate this restoring of balance. Ah. What's it mean? What's symbolic here? Let's look at it at a very personal level. Durga is that protective force, and within us of Mother Nature, and within us, within our own bodies, that represents our immune system. It's our defense system. It's something we don't have to activate necessarily, other than stay healthy, eat good things, right? Maybe take your vitamins, on and on, and your immune system is pretty strong. It protects you. Now, the invaders are Shumba and Nishumba. It can be bacteria, it can be viruses, it can be funguses, whatever it may be. And if they get too strong of a hold, lots of imbalance within your body. Too much, you have a serious challenge. Your immune system has a serious challenge. That's at a personal, very personal level. Same is true for our mind and our thoughts. Start thinking a lot of negativity, a lot of fear, a lot of doubt. We create inner monsters. We create the inner Shumba and Nishumba. Have a lot of greed, have a lot of desire for a lot of wealth, a lot of power. Create Shumba and Nishumba within our minds. Then we have to invoke Durga to work things out within our own minds. Addictions, habits, big ones that are really wreaking havoc in our life, Shumba and Nishumba. Then we have to invoke Durga, boom, to get us out. Durga is that higher power that we call upon to bring us into harmony, to balance. But it's not just any kind of higher power. It's a very particular flavoring of higher power that is powerful, that's fierce, that's aligned with our hearts. So Durga is the goddess who rides on the tiger, who represents our will, our determination, our capacity to persevere and be invincible to whatever comes up in our lives, internally and externally. Powerful, huh? So in this tradition, most of the time when Durga is invoked, it's an invocation for our own restoring of our own personal power. The restoring of personal power is an important piece because the thing is that the majority of the time our projection and understanding and what we've seen of power is distorted. But Durga represents empowerment. It represents empowerment aligned with our hearts. It represents uplifting power because true power uplifts all. Oh, Mother Nature uplifts everything. She wants everything to thrive. She doesn't have preferences. She's just like, live, thrive. True power. Distorted power, oppress, repress, squash, greed, on and on and on. The distortion of power. So Durga is that invocation, that calling in of true power, empowerment. And empowerment, personal empowerment, but power as community, as society, heartfelt, compassionate, loving. Pretty deep, huh? Just how this story is. We can go on and on, but I think I ran out of time. So as you can see, the stories ultimately are symbolism for our own personal life. And then as we learn about it, we learn about what she represents, what the stories represent, then it also is empowering for our own personal life. And then we come back here, and we come back to the chanting, for example, and we use the emotion, whatever emotions are coming up for us in every single challenge in our life, and we sing to it. We make the experience and the emotions that we have an offering. Oh, this is just the most challenging moment of my life. I have so much emotion coming up. I have so much busyness in my mind, so many thoughts, so many things. I'm going to take all of this energy and offer it back to the Divine Mother. So let's do that now. Come on.